man, let's get into this. Let's get started. It's right over here. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today, what day is today? Today is July 9th, 2024. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How you doing there, chat room? Hello, hello. We've got folks, we're broadcasting live to both Twitch and YouTube. There we go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us. C Sharp Titan starts us off saying, hope I'm doing well. Greetings from Australia. Love the blog post about integrating Clam AV. That was something that I absolutely want to talk about and we'll get into for sure. Phil, thank you for the resub. Yeah, in for a live one. Great to see you. Reg, good morning to you. Digital Dummy asks, what's antivirus for websites? So the challenge that all of us should be concerned about is if you have any kind of user uploadable content, and it's not just file uploads, but also text uploads. If you have a free text box that folks can key stuff into, they can put some nasty stuff in there also. So how do we handle that? What do we do to prevent any kind of malware from being uploaded there? And that's something that I wrote about in this blog post that C Sharp Titan's mentioning, and we're going to get into just a little bit more here in a little bit. I'll dig in and talk about that because I think it was interesting. I think it was something that folks should be aware of. We should look at, kind of poke around there, and there might be something interesting to talk about. Why isn't it playing that sound effect? No, that's not the right hat at all. 41%? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? It should find this. Should be able to find this. Nope, not finding it. Let me go back here a little bit. Where was I? Quite a big job. It is. Oh, Blazor Bootstrap theme that you're working on. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. That looks really nice. Nice and clean. Totally like that. That is a big job for sure. Hey, GG Feds, good morning to you. Does it check for malware or viruses and images or PDFs that get uploaded? Let's talk more about that in a minute. Let's talk more about that. I want to greet folks. Yes, we're going to dig in and talk about that. Well, okay, there's no more chat. There's no more chat right there, so yeah, let's do this. So I wrote a blog post about an issue that I was working through that I was trying to figure out. It's right here. I'll share that link in chat. There you go. So the idea, the problem here was I want to allow folks to upload content, images into Aspirify and other websites. Well, as soon as you start allowing folks to upload stuff, it's in all the Learn documentation. You need to check for malware. How do we do that? And I think I found a solution that works quite nicely here. I'm going to get some music playing in the background. Go to the next song. There you go. This is called Rainbow Storm. This is music from the Stream Beats EDM playlist. It's royalty free. Check it out. Streambeats.com. Thank you so much to Harris Heller and his team of creators for creating this music we're listening to today. So the idea was, and what a lot of folks do is, hey, just upload files to a system that already has native antivirus running on it, and you can let that native antivirus just monitor the upload folder that you write into, give it a few seconds to make sure that the antivirus doesn't report anything, and then move on. Like, if it doesn't quarantine it, you're okay. And that feels short-sighted. It feels like you're handing things off to another system that you don't really have control over. And as we think more and more about cloud native types of constructs, where we want to bring our own services, we want to be able to control, inspect, and interact with those and manage those discreetly, I found that ClamAV has a Docker container available. Not only does ClamAV, that's an open source antivirus, not only does it have a Docker container available, but there's a library that was written for it called nclam that allows you to scan files or directories using ClamAV server. Now we're talking, can images have viruses in them? Yep. Sure can. And when they get opened and presented in your browser, they can do things. Yes. So. Oh my goodness.
Faruings just resubscribed for 69 months.
Nice. Thank you so much. I didn't say it right. Oh my goodness. How you doing there, Fairy Wings? Thank you so much for that resub. 69 months with us. And I'll be making another donation to a tech charity. Much appreciated. I still got to look that up. I've been a little busy over the weekend. So this is a library that allows you to connect into a running server and scan a file. That's easy to do. Okay, I get it. I'm there. But I want to be able to package and deploy and run this. So since it's a Docker container, I can go and run and deploy that with .NET Aspire. I can manage that and the connections to that with .NET Aspire. Now it gets interesting. Okay, so how do we glue those pieces together? And that's what I talk about in this blog post. So there was an original article by, is it Jerome Verhey? Talking about, hey, you can run this from inside a Docker container and connect to it with nclam. So I took this idea of running it with a Docker container, and let's wrap that as a .NET Aspire component. And then we can execute and call into it directly because we know where it lives. Now, there's a question there in chat. I'll go to this one first from Robert. Well, what about updates? Here's the thing. If you look at the documentation that they share from, where is it? They have documentation about it. There we go. It actually updates itself. So for a given feature release, images will no longer be updated. Running the fresh clam daemon separate from clamd is less recommended unless the clamd socket is shared, as fresh clam would not be able to afford clamd of database updates. So it does updates itself. It updates itself. So cool. We can even call in and tell it to check for updates. C# Josh.
Sharp Josh just resubscribed for 54 months.
Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to a tech charity. 54 months with us. Much appreciate. So this feels pretty good here. And you could reload the databases on all the containers. You can disable the fresh clam daemon when you start the containers. I do that. And then you can do docker exec later to force the database update. I disabled the fresh clam daemon just because right now here locally on my system, I'm just getting latest. I'm getting the latest container. Fine, no problem. Probably if this is running in production, we probably want to enable that, which means it's going to check every 10 minutes for antivirus updates. Not terrible, but something to be aware of. And something we should check out. When you last used it 5 to 6 years ago, you created a scheduled job to update the database. Yeah, and that's what this Fresh Clan daemon does. So it's a signature updater. Right? So running locally for the purposes of testing and making sure this works, I disabled this for right now. We should probably say, if in published mode, run it. So, hey Manoj, good morning. So that's what's going on. That's how it does the updates. And what we're looking at in this. Now the other question was, well, does it check the images? Will it crack PDFs and inspect those? Really? Come on now. It's right there. Features, command line, Milter interface for send mail, so you can hook it up to your mail. Built-in support for archive formats, including zip, RAR, DMG, TAR, GZIP, BZIP, blah, 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 and others. Support for ELF executable, support for popular document formats, Office, Mac Office, HTML, Flash, and PDF. So it does also have images in the list here that it can go after and open. So, portable executable files that are packed. So, it can go through, detect, and report issues on all of those. So, cool, right? Like, that's something that we can do. I thought there was a list on the front page here, but completely open source. So, anybody can use it. Right, packaging and reselling it is going to be an issue with their licensing, but running it behind the scenes, it's fine. It's not against it. With the container with Aspire, it helps a lot. I think so, and that's why I'm tinkering with it and giving it a try. So I have a little bit of documentation. The proof of concept code of here's how I get it configured. I think I need to turn that so that it only runs, so that it turns off the Fresh Clam updater when we're running in development mode, but it does run in production. Fine. I had a great conversation last night. There you can see it running in Aspire, so Antivirus in the web front end. And it does a simple connection over to interact with it. So, I shared the source code. It's in the GitHub repository over here if you want to take a look. If this is something that you're interested in, you want to contribute to, here it is. I think this kind of makes sense when we think about why we choose to use .NET Aspire. It's to get automatic configuration of things, great telemetry interactions, and to choose to be secure by default as we build our systems. Adding antivirus into an application that provides file uploads, fantastic. What if it detects a false virus? Will I build a feature to allow or delete file? That's further upstream than just enabling it to do virus checks, right? We've got it in there. It can do it. This is a proof of concept. I didn't build this into a NuGet package yet. Our friend Tim Hewer from the Visual Studio team has some recommendations here to help make this a little bit easier to work with. He cleaned up some of my using statements here. That's always nice. Thank you. And changed this. I had it as a resource with service discovery. He changed it to a resource with connection string. So in Aspire, a resource with a connection string will publish its connection information as a connection string into your .NET application. So you can call configuration get connection string and get that information. So he changed this from an endpoint reference to primary endpoint name and he changed it to TCP. Turns out TCP works nicely with ClamAV. I was going off of this sample over here where I thought that was an HTTP connection. Turns out it's not. So, cool. He did a little bit more inspection into this. Changed it from HTTP port to port, and changed it from with HTTP endpoint to with endpoint. That's cool. And what's this other one? Added a with data volume so that it would mount. Yeah, so that it persists the virus definitions locally, so it isn't constantly reloading that. So it starts a little bit faster also. Nice. So he added into the sample for app host. He added a with data volume there. Cool. And then changed this from, see how I had to climb down through the services information to go find the location of it? Now it's just get connection string. That's a heck of a lot cleaner. A heck of a lot cleaner to go and get and pass that information around. Hey there, Dr. Cox. Good to see you. So this looks like a great contribution from Tim. And update the article appropriately. Cool. Get that merged. And we're doing simple little things here. So other folks have built all of this. With .NET Aspire, it allows us to bring this in and make it a heck of a lot easier for folks to do the right thing first. By default. No need to go and reinvent the wheel. We can do the right things by default, stand on those shoulders, and then do what we do best, focusing on those subject matters that we're experts on. Can you share a folder in Teams chat? Like the folder is present and browsable in the Teams chat? Yeah, you can put folders into the Teams chat file tab. Yes. You can do it in channels. I'm nearly positive you can do it in a chat as well. So nice contribution there from Tim to help with that. So if I bring that down, let's actually run this locally so you can see it, because I think this was a neat contribution. It's like, there it is. Notice I have I have one file that's not checked in. There's a reason I didn't check that in. And it's this file here. This EI car file is actually a virus. Check this out. What? Because the file contains a virus. See, this is Windows Defender protecting me from even looking at that. So it's a test virus. That's right, Surly Dev. So I can't even look at it. And this is just a string, and it's provided by this EI car organization that will help test antivirus solutions and make sure that they actually detect viruses. So, can it? Will it? No, it's completely blocking me from touching it. So, so here, let's get this running. Right? Did I pulled it down? Right? Yeah. So let's start that sample. And I'll show you this quickly. And then we'll get into dealing with YouTube. How you doing over there, YouTube? We're gonna need some help from YouTube today. You say you restored. Thank you. So here's the resource that was built. And it's this right here. I think we need to change this. I think we need to change that. I don't think it's so much that you can execute code in Notepad. It's something with that text will mess up text editors. Let's do this. Builder, execution context. If it's run mode, right? Right now it's default to true. So if it's run mode, to string. There we go. So it won't run the updater in the background if we're running. When we publish, it'll run it in the background. Hey, Eric. Hello. Yes, I did have a good 4th of July, good Independence Day, and a good weekend here. Let me, yeah. And I also found that Firefox, there's something with Firefox and the input type file widget. Running with that in Aspire crashes Aspire. Running Firefox with that input type file outside of Aspire works just fine. So here, there's the antivirus running up there, and you can see there it is. Database test passed. And yeah, it's not, I don't have it listening on to a folder. Maybe that's a future configuration. So there you go. There's some of the things that it supports. So there, self-checking every 600 seconds. So it checks to see if there's updates. And it's all running there. So if I head over here to my endpoint, let's upload some files. So this is a sample, a Blazor sample that is available on Learn Microsoft.com. Upload files. And if you scroll down here, right, it's literally don't trust file names supplied from clients. Security considerations go through here. Be wary of folks uploading viruses or malware. So some of the things that they suggest doing file name, but here it is right there. Run a virus malware scanner. But they don't tell you how to do that. And that's where this bit comes in that we're building here. So if I say choose file, and we go find a wonderful picture of this handsome fella. It's doing the upload in the background right now, and there works just fine. But if we go back, and if I look at, oh, it's not even listing it there. It's not even listing this EI car com text. Okay. Right? Yeah, it's gone. So my antivirus sample, Windows found and removed. Well, I can't show you that it throws an error for a virus. But you had to mark ignore it. Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to go through and do that, but you can see in the code that it uploads. If it detects a virus, it'll report back, hey, there's a virus in this file. So, you believe me? Thank you. So, cool sample that gets this started. Is this something I should iterate on? Is this something that I should package up and turn into an Aspire hosted package and a client? In chatting with Tim a little bit on Tim Hewer from the Visual Studio team, who supported and provided that pull request. He didn't support, he just sent in that pull request to do the with data volume and with data bind mount here. Right, so if I open my Docker settings, what do you think you're doing there? Steam running in the background. I didn't start you. There we go. So there it is running. Right. It says it's in. That's the images containers, please. Thank you. There's the antivirus running. 0% CPU. Gotta like seeing that. But it should show me that, yep, there's all the stuff, and I was expecting to see a volume there for it. There it is. So there's 300 meg sitting on disk of antivirus definition. So, Vile, hey, how you doing there, Vile? Is the AV running remotely and caching the binary, then optionally delivering it if verified safe? It is. So it's good questions. Let's talk about it. So in the scope of the Aspire collection system here, it's running in another container. So what it's doing is, where is it? So I get a connection to the antivirus system, the other container that it's running in. I open the read stream to receive the file that was uploaded, and I send it over to, right? So just the raw bytes. Nothing's executed here. It's literally wrapping it and shipping it over to that other system. This proof of concept doesn't actually save the file, but you make a very good point there. You shouldn't proceed and actually save the file to disk and accept it unless it's verified clean. Totally agree. Totally agree. This proof of concept could take those next steps to show that. For now, what it's doing to show that, hey, it detected a virus, it didn't, it's fine. But yes, there's certainly more steps that we could take with that, right? We could flag the user that uploaded that content. Hey, you're sending us virus stuff. I'm going to trust you less, right? Something like that. I'm going to send an email to an administrator that you're uploading viruses to us, and maybe there's moderation steps that are taken, whatever it might be. So what does the scan output return? So this returns, this library returns an enum that is one of 4 values there. I don't know what this is. It's clean, a virus was detected, or there's an error. So what I've done is I only allow it to proceed if it's clean, if it's verified clean. So I think that makes sense. And it was an interesting experiment. It was something that was fun to explore and figure out how to stitch these pieces together. And I'm appreciative of the input from Tim to help get this little resource set up so that it's easy to connect and work with it. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. And once again, I come back to, for us as developers, the more that we can make the barrier to doing better processes lower, right? Let's reduce that barrier, make it easier to do the right thing. Then you're going to do the right thing by default. To be honest, I wasn't going to add antivirus. I literally saw, I'm doing upload of profile pictures for this website. You know what? Let's skip and push that antivirus off. We'll take a look at that later. That malware detection. Somebody on Azure or somebody has to have a solution for it. And I stumbled on that Medium article that I showed you. And full credit, I made sure to link and give credit to Joran here. I hope I'm pronouncing their name right. And it's right here in the second paragraph after I introduce the concept of the blog post. Hey, you know, wrote this article and it's this library from this person. Here's what I did to make it easier to interact with. So, I like that. I like that a lot. So, Eric says they worked for a SecOps company. We were able to detect bad off-the-network wire with specialized gateways. Some of the bad out there can be really, really bad. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right? And some sort of a gateway in front of my application, if it has that capability, fantastic. Right? I'm protecting at the entrance point that I have ownership of, that I have maintenance requirements on. That's on me. There we go. We'll make those changes right there. So, I should update this little bit of source code. So this is a gist that I created here. So let's update that gist with some of the new code that Tim shared with us. This is inside the ClamAV resource. So I will literally copy and paste in the updated code that we had with him. And just to make it easier, thank you. And we'll put that, let's put the comma. There we go. Just to make it a little bit easier to read, because some of this stuff is long. And the resource builder extension, let's see. Sure. We can do that. Oh, you know what? I don't show the other bit. It's just... No, that's fine. I don't need to show the data mounts. We'll just paste over that. So this will update the gist. That'll update the blog post. Let's back up some of these. Yeah. That can go over. But these... Come on back over, friends. Look at that. Primary endpoint name. He added a constant over here. That's fine. Make it easier to pick that off. And then inside here, that's fine. Instead of doing app configuration, we can do no, app configuration. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, configuration get connection string. Right? Nope, the S is capitalized. I always forget if the S is capitalized. And there we go. The rest of this stuff just works. We can bring that across. So, cool. Update that gist. What? No. Cool. So that should update my blog post with that content. Yeah, there we go. Not bad. Look at those tabs. Ugh. Really, should I change that to spaces? I could change it to spaces. I don't like spaces, but I feel like I have to for this. Yeah, just to force it to be smaller. Let's put a carriage return on that, and that. That's fine. Ugh. It's just gigantic. Like, I use 2 spaces just because the wrap is insane. Like, it goes so far over. Yeah, see, it's still... Yeah, it's still indenting way far over. Oof. Semicolon missing on line 1. Where? Yep, you're right. It's sample code copied into a text editor, so... Yup. See, even then, it still says spaces 4. Like... No, it still has these as tabs instead of... It didn't convert them to spaces. Right? Do I have to, like... do all this by hand? To kind of force it? Because that's annoying as heck. Right? I'm not a monster that uses spaces all the time. But for the purposes of web readability, fine. Like, the only place that would have it on this one is there. Spaces 4. No, 2. And the 2 spaces is something that a magazine editor stressed on me a long time ago. When I wrote an article for, I forget which magazine. Doesn't matter, it's no longer in business. There we go. Alright. So, that's cool. And that's the little article that I wrote yesterday and the content repository that I wrote about doing the antivirus. Like, I can update that in the README. Sure. Where was it? Right there. Right, configuration, get connection string, antivirus, semicolon. Cool. Not bad, right? So, is this something that is interesting, that is something that you might use? Is it something that I should invest more time in? I shared it with, and I'm trying to dig it up here. I shared it with the Aspire team, and they think it's kind of nifty. They think it's something that is interesting, but is it something that folks need to use all the time? No, not really. If you're not going to allow folks to do file uploads, but I could certainly take this class that has all of the configuration there and break that out and make it a little bit more flexible, turn it into a NuGet package, turn it into a wrapper for the client. So the other side of this that is missing, if we go to traces here, right? There's the post down here at the bottom. Right, if we look at the details of that, there's the post into upload, but it didn't log the activity that it sent it over to the antivirus, because it's the CLAM client isn't aware of OpenTelemetry, so I could enhance I send a pull request to the guy that made NCLAM. Right, where'd it go? I added a link up here to Ryan to add OpenTelemetry to it to log entries. What's he have here? Memory management. This hasn't been touched in a while. Months ago. $13 old. Look at that. And the last version was released in 2021. So maybe there's an opportunity here for me to fork this, add the OpenTelemetry logging into the CLAM client, because right there, all the features are here. Right? Oh, look at that, and it's an interface. So, right, and it takes a server and a port. So right, if this is created and I can add telemetry into this and have it create activities if right when it does scanning, because that's all this is, right? It's get the version from there. So Total Virus Service, not familiar with it, Robert. Oh my gosh, Phil
Bessie cheered 500 for the charity.
Thank you. And I still haven't identified the charity, but I really appreciate it, Phil. Mythin says, hello, thanks for the heads up on the milestones. Yes, you did a feature request on configurable deployment strategy for Aspire. Configurable deployment strategy. Just isn't a helpful solution. Okay. Yes, what this does is it wraps a call to CLAM AV, and CLAM AV can run in a container. That's all we're doing there. So this execute CLAM command async is, I'm guessing, somewhere down here. I haven't even looked at this. If net standard, look at that. Right, so wrapping and putting those entries in there. Yeah, there it is. Execute CLAM command. So there's a diagnostic stopwatch that runs. So he's already trying to do some metric collection here. Creates a TCP client. So, right, let's not just do this. Let's actually hook it up and create an open telemetry activity. So, even then, Robert, I'm not familiar. Virus total service. I'm not familiar with that. Could I add this to AspireFiNet to scan images and web links when you... Yes. Now you're talking, C# Titan. That's the kind of thing that I'm looking at adding to. You better believe it. So, Cheeky Breaky, hello. Is there any way... What was the edit history of a team message? Don't know. Not familiar with it. I don't have expertise working with Teams APIs. For a development shop, taking a look, not a bad way to start with metrics. Analyze suspicious files, domains, IPs, and URLs to detect malware. They have an API. Get an API key. Sure. Feels like something that you could set up and connect to and work with their service. Right? Set up a .NET Aspire client that connects over here. I mean, they have an API here, so is there developer tools for connecting? I mean, there's a public and a premium API. Let's look at that first. 500 requests a day and a rate of 4 requests per minute. So for a system that might be dealing with a lot of requests, you might not be able to use that. Public API must not be used in commercial products. Well, there's another blocker. As soon as you put an advertisement on a website, you're in violation of this. And you must contribute new files. So, yeah, could be used, but you might run into a challenge there. Hey there, Orio Gaga Smurf is coming from Python. Hey, welcome. Is C# good in building Windows apps? Oh yes, C# is very good at building Windows applications. Hey there, bald-bearded builder. That's right. It's the best. Bald-bearded builder might know a thing or two about building Windows applications. So, what I would suggest to you is that Windows Forms, building Windows applications with Windows Forms is the easiest, simplest way to build a Windows application. It doesn't get any easier than it. It is easily the most built and used template that ships with Visual Studio. Windows Forms with C#. So, yeah, there is a premium API. Totally. But the question in my mind is, do they have a .NET API? Right, a library that we can use. Let's take a look. NuGet virus total. Right? Yep. And looks like a couple people have worked with it. That one hasn't been touched since 2019. This one has more downloads. 2023. Show me your README. Full implementation of the virus total 2.0 API. There's a 3 API that you probably want access to. So this is probably out of date. Last year, yeah. So create the iCar test virus. There you go. Hey, look. And, okay. Not bad. Looks like it'd probably be very usable. You'd rather write C# instead of C++? Totally agreed. So, given that the portability and the ability for you to manage, and the folks at ClamAV, and ClamAV is now owned by Cisco, right? There they are. The ability to take some of that content and use a service that Cisco is providing and get that managed implementation, pretty good. My Outlook is going off because there are optional meetings that folks scheduled with me earlier than they should. Would you rather write .NET MAUI than Qt? I don't think Apollo specifically said .NET MAUI, but there are several options to code mobile applications with C#, not just .NET MAUI. Project Uno. Why am I forgetting the others? Project Uno is the big one that I keep coming back to. Avalonia, there it is. So that's a little bit of what I was doing with inspecting this. I'll take a look, and if there's folks that I get some feedback on this, we'll see. If I get some positive feedback, I'll invest some time in it. But for my purposes and integrating with the systems that I'm building, this is enough. But putting a wrapper around it, adding the telemetry to it, it's an experiment that I can dive into as I build and add more. Maybe I do wrap it, and I'm not doing the next Big Bad Blog episode tomorrow because I was out for a bit of last week. I was a little busy over the weekend. I don't know if you saw. Maybe I wrap the antivirus here and we move it into something that I just reference inside of the Big Bad Blog series. You used ClamAV 2 years ago. You had a hard requirement for on-premises due to privacy-sensitive files, like really sensitive. So bringing ClamAV local with those updates was something that was valuable for you, Johan. That's good to know. Okay. I appreciate that. So, no, I don't have a project logged yet. I want to talk about this.
Oh my.
Let's move into our next topic. And what? No. Hey, when Google alerts and you're searching for content, comes back with your own content. Like, that feels weird, but also it feels good, right? Like, hey, I've landed such that Google Alerts is finding my stuff, right? Like, where's my Google Search Console? Come on now, I'm looking for... There it is. So that's C# in the cards. Here's Aspirify and searches and the performance click-throughs. They're indexing so many pages, right? So the click-throughs on Aspirify, you notice the weekends. There's like nobody searching for Aspire stuff. But during the week, yeah, folks are finding Aspirify.net. So interesting that there's a drop-off. Like all of a sudden it said, no, we're kicking out 15 items from the index. Like, really? Really? Whatever. But we're showing up more and more in the search results. So 6% click-through rate. Average position is 14th. That's fine. It's a news aggregator. Folks are finding it. Folks are getting into it. I'm glad to see that. So, did Google get back to me regarding the application for API? Funny you should mention that. Funny you should mention that. Look what arrived yesterday. Application has been approved based on the information you provided and your representation that your use of YouTube API services is in full compliance. We have increased your quota by 80,000. You now have 90,000 units per day. That's what we were talking about. So, TagsApp can now query and interact with YouTube every 5 seconds, I think it is. Right? So each request for chat is 5 points, right? So 3,600 seconds in an hour. So I can effectively make a request every second now, right? 86,000 seconds in a day. I've got all of that and a little bit more. I can make a request every second to YouTube. Awesome. So, what do you say we go back to TagsApp and let's revisit our YouTube service and expand it and make sure that we're using this properly and we start getting YouTube content flowing through. Now, other folks that want to use TagsApp, if you want to integrate with YouTube, you're going to need to request this. We can get near real-time polling. Yep. That's right. That's massive. Yes. The big thing that we're going to be able to do then is we don't need to rely on the Restream bot passing us chat messages and not getting your information from YouTube about who you are and your profile picture. We'll be able to actually see those things as we go through and highlight content. And, importantly, we can moderate you as well. You start mouthing off, you start misbehaving on YouTube, we can moderate you and put you on that blocked list. So, and certainly, Dev, I got my eye on you.
What's that?
And certainly, Dev, they can be a problem sometimes. Hey, Napalm, good morning. So, we got our quota update. That feels good. That feels good. So, I'm going to head back over to my code. Now, I did a cleanup of my my containers that I had on my machine. I had 15 gigs of containers just laying around. And I think I'm pretty sure I accidentally wiped the container that we were testing and working on. So we're going to need to reconfigure all the things. So I'm going to jump into TagsApp. We were working on some of the user interface around the queue. I'm going to step away from that feature. Where are we here? Sure. Work in progress. I don't know. Fine. Push it back up. Thank you. Steve!
Steve_Elliott just resubscribed for 48 months.
48 months, 4 years with us. Thank you so much for that support. And I'll make another donation to a tech charity. So we're going to search YouTube from now on? Yes. YouTube will get into and will be part of our collection of it's been in the collection of services we support, but I've had it turned off, and I quite frankly let the provider degrade a little bit and didn't update it as we added features. But we're going to get it upgraded. We're going to get it running properly here with the rest of TagsApp so that we can get real-time input coming into TagsApp real-time from Twitch, from YouTube, from Blue Sky, from Mastodon, all wired up. Twitter is a paid API. It works. We need to go back and test it, but it works. It's been a while since we've used it. We'll want to revisit that. The big ones that I want to address are Discord and Instagram. Instagram's going to be the tricky one to do, and I have a feeling we may end up doing a little bit of screen scraping with Instagram. So, let's do this. I'm going to jump back over to my main branch. Let's make sure that's all up to date. So let's do checkout. And let's call this update YouTube. Oh, man, we haven't worked on this one in a while. So I'm going to do a push just to establish the feature branch up on GitHub so I can get stuff there. There we go. See how dev came through there? So with TagsApp, we'll be able to see, instead of using RestreamBot passing that information, we'll be able to get it to appear. What about WhatsApp? That's an option, but I don't have demand for it right now. So demand for adding WhatsApp, it's something that, yeah, we could build, but why? The other challenge with WhatsApp is all of the meta properties are really, really sensitive about how you interact with their APIs. Fetching and reading content from them is something that they want business proof of who you are before you can interact with them. So, given that there's low demand for WhatsApp, the requirements from Meta, Facebook, to interact with their API, such a low priority. Am I making an antivirus checker like VirusTotal? Dev, no. What I showed in the blog post that we talked about and we went into over the last hour was how you can establish ClamAV with .NET Aspire and host an antivirus checker using ClamAV. You could certainly use this, the sample code that I share here, to build your own website that allows upload of files and inspects them using the ClamAV antivirus. You could do that. I showed the proof of concept for that. There's a link to a GitHub repository in there, so you can take a look at that. What's the max file size? I could use the public API with VirusTotal, but there's a limit there of how many that you can scan. Like, you're going to hit those, 500 files? Potentially quickly. Potentially. Your DevOps team is pushing a Python agenda and treating .NET as a second-class citizen. Why? They want you writing integration tests and just about everything in Python. Why? Python is slow. Why? That's the question. Why? What's the benefit of that? FickCop! Thank you for the...
F1CHK0PPH50.
So, this is important. We had this discussion last week with C# Titan, where folks at their organization wanted to dump all their .NET stuff and go to Spring. Why? when you choose to shift technology stacks, and it doesn't matter if it's to .NET, away from .NET, to Python, away from Python, when you choose to shift technology stacks, it's a major, not significant, major financial investment. When you do that, and you say, we're going to rewrite these applications from .NET to Python, why? If it took you 6 years to do the initial build, enhancements, and maintenance of the current product that you built with C#, that you built with Java, and folks come through and say, we're going to rewrite everything in Python. Okay. Do you have 6 years to pause that application and rewrite it in Python? Or do you have, and that's 6 years of the team working on it. How big's your team? 5 developers? That's 30 man years. And if a developer costs you $100,000 of salary and compensation, do you have $3 million? Is it worth $3 million for you to rewrite that in Python? Now, that's a number that we can take to the CTO and the CEO and say, is that something we can afford? When you put numbers, hard numbers, in front of how much it costs to shift technology from one to another, people start to question. Can you do 100 gig? You know what? You're going to have to look at the Clam AV. You're going to have to look at their website. The documentation for running inside Docker. It doesn't say what a... I just did a search on size. I don't see anything about... And I don't see Max here. But their documentation is pretty thorough there, Amal. Take a look and see what it says. Hey, Walter's Avenger, thank you for the follow. So they don't have to support other tool sets? Sorry. That's an investment in your organization, and they get to expand their skill set to learn other tool sets. Like, that's a benefit. You're now pulling from several developer communities to recruit and hire folks. That spreads out your exposure. The opportunity cost of no new features added to the app for however many years. Yeah. Caught up with the final developer on the team. He's now left, and they still are in the beginning of interviewing for Spring of Java devs. So let's come back to... Here's what C# Titan went through, right? And to the discussion of, hey, we're going to shift all of our .NET stuff to Python. What C# Titan went through is they came through and they put the hammer down and said, no more .NET development. We're migrating everything to Java. All of the .NET developers left. So now, not only is no maintenance or progress being made on the existing applications, you're now in an interview process to hire new developers to replace those in the new technology, and they have no documentation, they have no tribal knowledge, and they need to be .NET experts in order to look at the existing application to know how to convert it to Java. You need to find people who are now experts in both .NET and Java to do that migration. Suddenly, just hiring a Java developer for $100,000 compensation, and I always throw $100,000 out there, because somewhere between a junior and senior level developer, plus healthcare and other benefits, call it $100,000. It's a nice round number. It's easy to talk to. That $100,000 isn't $100,000. Because everybody left, You're looking now at more like $150,000 because you can't bring in junior Java developers. You're going to need to bring in experts. So what would have been 3 years of software development to get things migrated to Java, now it's 3 years at time and a half. Now it's going to cost you 4.5 years. And if your old team was, I think it was 5 developers, C# Titan is what we talked about. Now, instead of it costing you $300,000 to do that rewrite, now it's costing you $450,000 to do that rewrite. Okay. These are things that we need to consider, and I'm picking on the scenarios here of C# to Java, C# to Python. It might be Python to C#, but these are the things that we need to, as leaders in our organizations, make sure that folks are aware of, because you can break right through your budgets quickly. And oh, by the way, that 4.5 years of doing the migration, nothing's happening to the existing applications because you don't have anybody on staff that knows how to maintain .NET. Is that risk exposure for you? And any CTO that says no is lying, and I would flee and quit that company as quickly as possible. And if you're a CEO that has a CTO that says there's no risk, I would fire that CTO on the spot. Thank you for the follow. That is a CTO that is fueled by ego and doesn't understand their company, their organization, their products, their assets, and resources for that matter. You think global warming's the #1 contributor is Python? What? It's slow and inefficient. So is JavaScript. What's your point? DevOps scripts for multiple tool chains is not enviable. So? You're gonna... So instead of... Let's pull that one apart there. Instead of learning how to write better scripts, we're going to force the company to spend several $1 million rewriting all of the applications. Stop development for a couple years and potentially turn over the entire software department. Does that feel like a wise decision? Once again, there's a software development director, a CTO there, that needs to weigh in on this, and they don't understand the economic impact on their budget. They don't have... If you're working in an organization where you're not selling software, where software is a cost center, not a profit center, where it's a profit center, you might be able to get away with this type of migration. Where it's a cost center and it costs money and it's attempting to save you money to build software, somebody tells you to do a rewrite because they can't maintain scripts in a different language, you need to fire that person who's saying, I can't maintain the scripts, because they just admitted they can't do their job. There are people out there that can maintain those scripts, and your development team can help them. But somebody who's saying, go rewrite everything in my preferred language, and they're the DevOps people, get them out of here. Seriously, you just signed your dismissal papers. They are not worth their salt. Sorry, we're going to go find somebody and hire somebody who does know how to do this. Hey, Big Daddy McCoy. Oh, my. It's a drawback of letting team choose the best tech. A little bit. Yep, polyglot. So, 5 devs full-time. Oof. The boss said, I love spending money. Okay, let's see what the CEO says. Because they might not appreciate that. And these are back of the napkin numbers. You had a meeting with product owners and they were super excited for AI. Okay. So they think AI will basically do all the migration. I don't have an echo button handy. No. All because manager used Java and Spring in their last company. Yeah. Also had to move from Azure to AWS. How's that cost doing for you? How's that working for you? Let me know next time US East 2 goes offline. Don't think anyone said rewrite things. Okay, good. If 90% of projects are Python, then maybe everything should be... Yeah. Totally agree. Any recommendations for a C# book for a total beginner? Our friend Phil Japixi wrote a C# book. The last version, Pro C# 10 with .NET 6. It's 2 years out, and they release a version of these once every few years, just because it is such a complete, such a complete tome. No, we need to get rid of these things here on the cart on the side. No, you go away. No, stop it. Stop it! I would recommend a book like this one. So, Phil's a friend and has done a good job putting together and maintaining this book. I would check it out. You can get it on the Kindle for $15, $44. This is a large book, but it'll get you there. And if you want a book, I recommend Phil's book. Otherwise, I would tell you, take a look at the content online. It's pretty good to get you started and running. And quite frankly, when I get back to C# in the cards, it should end up stitching all of the episodes together as an ebook. So, one product at work moved from Azure to AWS and back again. Yeah. You questioned that double migration you guesstimate that double migration cost at least $10 million. Oh, what a waste. You tell a CEO that, oh, we made a mistake and it's going to cost us $10 million. See ya. You're fired. You're fired. Migrating from ClearCase to Git was a $50 million migration. What? Really? Migrating source control should be a low cost. Should be a low cost process. Adopting new processes should be low cost. Adopting new processes in how you build software and how you manage your software should be low. There is cost. Should be low cost. 50 million, really? I got to hear more about that. What about changing the technology without telling anyone in the company? Well, we've done that too. And that catches people by surprise. Does anybody know why the list of errors in Visual Studio 2022 preview doesn't get refreshed as you resolve issues? It does. It does for me, at least. I've seen it. You have to build in between, and it will. But not as you eliminate things. Including CI/CD stuff. There's where your time investment is. Johan, there's where your time investment is. But even then, your CI/CD, if it's decoupled from your source provider, shouldn't be that big of a migration. GitHub Actions is very coupled to GitHub, and that's a choice that you kind of make and you stick with. Fuel Snable says as part of the migration, they went from building the entire project by source from a huge ClearCase repo to building on binary from many Git. No, GitHub isn't decoupled at all. No. No. You are very coupled when you build with GitHub Actions. Yeah. You can use Jenkins, TeamCity, bunch of other CI/CD services and connect over and use GitHub as your source control. Yes. But as soon as you use GitHub Actions for CI/CD, you're married to that ecosystem. You can't migrate from it. But Git itself, you can host your own Git server. Right? There's even Docker containers that'll help you do that. You can even get GitLab. You can download. What's this? Git server Docker. A Git server, lightweight Git server in Docker. Fantastic. Right? I don't know what this does, but cool. You can do that. You can get GitLab and run it on Docker if you want. Cool. There's premium features that you won't have, but you can run GitLab on premises if you'd like. Go for it. There are GitHub integrations and things that you can buy and download and run GitHub locally if you like as well. But Git as a source control runs in many different places. The most famous, GitHub, GitLab. So, yeah. The only thing you need to run a pure Git server is to have a Git repo. You need access to the file system. Yep. So, Napalm thinks we should use GitHub for the economies of scale with Actions. Sure. Big Daddy McCoy. Let me answer just a couple more questions here, and then we'll dive back into working with YouTube chat here. You've been using right-click publish to right-click to publish Azure Web Apps in Visual Studio, then pushing your code to Azure DevOps. Is there a downside to that? When you have more folks that need to contribute to your team, or the one machine that you're building on you're not at, you don't have the ability to right-click publish. So Big Daddy McCoy, and I love that question. So as soon as you bring in another not even developer, another machine into your ecosystem, great example. This machine that you're watching that I'm producing from and that you saw on my developer screens and my Visual Studio and my browsers on, right? This Windows machine sits here in my office. It's a desktop. I'm not taking this anywhere. When I go on the road, I have several laptops that I can choose from. I've got a Surface laptop. I've got my Kubuntu Focus. I've got a MacBook, an M1 MacBook that I can choose. Bring it with me, but as soon as I go and build and work with content on those machines, well, if I want to republish, how do I do it? Right? Oh gosh, I need to publish an update to the thing that's over there. How do I do it? I'll take it even one step further. But by putting a continuous integration script on GitHub Actions or Azure DevOps, and you can publish an Azure DevOps pipeline from your Visual Studio publish task. You can right-click and say publish, excuse me, save as Azure DevOps pipeline. I think there's the ability to extract that. Then, right, whether it's Azure DevOps or it's GitHub Actions, then it doesn't matter what machine I have with me. I can always make changes and publish. And that further step is, I don't even have to have my machine on me. I can use an iPad or a Chromebook, connect out to GitHub code spaces, make changes there, save, commit, and it will deploy. And now I don't even need to have a full laptop with me. I'm not going to go as far as to say you can do that on a phone, because writing code on a phone is perilous at best. It's hard to do. You might have a big screen wired up to your phone. Yeah, sure. But having that flexibility, even if it's just you, and I did this when I was managing ClipTalk. I published and deployed updates to ClipTalk while I was away on vacation one weekend. because stuff broke, and I was able to get to it with my wife's iPad. Log into a GitHub Copilot. GitHub code space, make the changes, and deploy. So, having that flexibility, doable. Samba folder shares can be a Git server. Oh, yeah. Can be done. Totally. Use DevOps at work on GitHub for your personal projects. There you go. Johan really wants Dependabot on Azure DevOps. Yeah, Dependabot's a GitHub thing. I can't speak towards why they're not unified. I don't work in either of those business lines, so I can't help with that. It's technically not the same company, technically, because GitHub is a subsidiary. So, all right, let me jump back over. Let's talk about Tags app, and let's start putting this YouTube fix into the mix here. So we got the update so that we have more queries that we can run against YouTube. Cool. They use Slack at GitHub and Teams at Microsoft. Not anymore. They use Teams at GitHub. They use Teams at GitHub now. So that absolutely was true 5 years ago. Not anymore. So, okay. So, no one uses IRC anymore. You're using IRC right now.
Inconceivable!
No, really. You are. You're typing in IRC. Not what you heard from a GitHub employee like 3 weeks ago? Really? Really? Okay. Word around the campfire about 2 years ago was that they were dumping their Slack and Zoom subscriptions and moving to Teams. So, moving on. So there's the Aspire antivirus example. We can close that down, and we'll jump back over to Tags app. Look at all that work I've been doing on my tag. Look at it all. Yep. My tag is coming along. And man, I cannot wait to show you when we're ready for that. We're not yet, but we're getting there. I need to start this up from scratch and see how this is running and take a look. Get us running here. You use both Slack and Teams? Why? That's like using both Outlook and Lotus Notes. Does Lotus Notes still exist? Like, that was a thing. Like, everybody uses Outlook now, right? Is there another mail app that folks use besides Outlook? You have to use Slack for a vendor. I use Slack for talking to a couple folks. There is a what is this? That's funny. There's a couple places that I use Slack for. There is a Slack discussion room for a couple of the conferences that I participate in. I use it when I have to. I prefer not to. Slack never appealed to me. So, was an ASCII protocol in Danish? Oh no. All right. So there it is right there. Database server and all the goodies. You know what? It was persisting to a volume on disk. Now it deleted the volume. Discord for some external vendors. So here's the thing. Here's, yeah, this is. Yeah, go ahead and log in with Microsoft. And then I need to wire up Google. Yes, I know. I need to reset up everything here. I clicked register. You're doing something? Oh, I'm at a plus point. Ooh, there we go. More plus. There we go. Yep, confirm my account. Thank you. Log me back in. And I want to, as always, watch for .NET. Head over to users. We are in single user mode. Convert that to multi-user. Yes, please. And it should be restarting. There it goes. There it is. Continuing. Providers. There we go. Mastodon isn't turned on. Please do. Let's go. Blue Sky, not yet started. Sure, go ahead, start Blue Sky. Timeout. Give it a 30-second timeout. All right. Refresh that page. Still no Mastodon. Unhealthy, not started. Is this one that I need to force it to restart? Hey, Stallone. How long can you take to build a simple, usable, production-ready e-commerce site using Blazor? When you say production-ready, you immediately have me worrying about all kinds of security things. Give me some scope. Could you do it in a day? Sure. Sure. But, I mean, there's libraries out there to connect with Stripe. Yeah, depends on what you need. Do you have 5 products that you need to advertise? Sure. Pizza e-commerce? Very fast. We've already got a template that does that. I don't think this is actually starting it because it comes back unhealthy. And I'm willing to bet that it doesn't actually... There it is right there. Task was canceled. I bet you something isn't starting. So, come back to that one. Twitch chat, unhealthy, not started. Not connected to Twitch. Yes, get connected. That looks good. I'd like my login button. Thank you. Oh, no. Oh, no. See if we can get this. There we go. Ah, crap. Well. Hang on. Not that one. There we go. I shut down the bot by accident. Need to get that 2-factor token here. What? I need to get my authenticator. Yeah. Shut up. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Redirected, and boom. Connected. Connecting. No. Should have come back. Connected. There we go. enabled. Good. So that's a thing. Okay. Assign roles, right? Admin. Like, that's me. Why aren't we doing anything? I think we might need to restart. Now that we've got the configuration saved in there, we can go do this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So, one or two things in there that we need to clean up. That's okay. Yeah, if you just wanted to shop, go with Shopify or one of those stores, Etsy, something like that. So which one is better for security? Website builders like WordPress or building your website builders? Because they've already been tested and you're paying somebody else to do it. Not that one. This one. See, it says I'm logged in. Log out. Let's go log back in again. Microsoft. Why don't I have moderator popping up there? Like, I don't know why that's not working, and this screen... There we go. Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Twitch chat are all turned on. See, YouTube isn't even there. We got to get that into the mix. But, because moderation isn't turned on, that's why. That's why it's not there. There's a couple things happening here. 1 second. Okay. That's fine. I don't know. Gosh, lots suddenly happening here. That's fine. And yep, enable moderation. There we go. Now we have blocked users in moderation. Okay, good. So let me catch up here. Yeah, the simple answer to the question of, hey, how can I get a shop running as quickly as possible is go sign up with Shopify or Etsy. That's the simple answer, because it gets you up and running, and it's somebody else already built the application for you. If you wanted to build it from scratch, a builder like Squarespace. Is that still a thing? WordPress will get you there very quickly. But if you want to build everything by hand, I mean, that's the most risk. You're taking control over all those things. You need to mitigate and manage your servers, your operating systems, your hardware, your cloud, what have you. You can do that. And it gives you more flexibility in customizing and creating something unique. But if you need to build a store quickly and get it running, I would argue that your issue is not being unique. You just want to get something out there and running. Go sign up with Shopify, and you'll be up and running in minutes. Like, by the end of the hour, you could have a store running with Shopify. You can have that running while you go and customize and build your own thing. Yeah, the amount of customization that folks want in their storefronts slowly starts to grow, where they go from, oh, I just want to be able to list these 3-4 things that I make. Well, I've got new pictures for them. Can you go maintain them for me? Well, do I just upload the pictures, or do I give you an admin screen to upload the pictures? You're right, Sean, it doesn't stop. The scope creep is constant. So, being able to A/B test pictures, promotions. Hey, I've got a new promotion this month. I want to put something else as the featured picture on the front page of the store. I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Marketing. I want to be able to offer coupons. How do I offer coupons? I want to be able to do free shipping if somebody orders more than $75 worth of product. How do I do that? Now you're building those features, but it's built into Shopify and Etsy. Space Yacht!
Space Shot just resubscribed for 60 months.
Thank you so much. 60 months with us. My goodness. 5 years. Thank you so much. Tier 2! And I'll make another donation to a tech charity. I've got to decide that in the next week here because we're going to have the June payment come through. If you do manage package versions centrally, why do you have to provide an inclusive lower bound so it knows what to start with? That's what you're doing in Phase. We have a WordPress WooCommerce website, and now you're building a replacement site completely in Blazor. And you're taking the maintenance of that. And clearly, with the investment that your organization is taking, they're understanding that you get amazing flexibility in how it runs. However, you're also dependent on developers to build new features where they might already be there. There'd be no innovation because there's a platform for everything. Build the next platform. What do you think this is? So, have I used Nick's video? Have I watched Nick's video on using DB up for migrations instead of using EF Core? No. No. I'm not familiar with DB up. That's a SQL Server tool. .NET library helps you deploy changes to SQL Server databases. Okay. Like, this was something that it sounds like we built similarly 15 years ago to migrate changes to stored procedures, views, other DDL scripts that we had to manage. Whatever. If that works for you, that's great. The database migrations that Entity Framework provides work good enough for me. They do. So I haven't been following Nick very closely on YouTube for the last few weeks. Oh, he published it yesterday. No. I'm not going to focus on talking about Nick. I promote and I talk about the folks that I have great things to say about, that I love, that I enjoy watching. I'm not going to talk about Nick right now. Nope. I've stopped watching his videos. So it's plausible you can work at an org where there's a database team that chooses migration strategy. Sure. Sure. Entity Framework can generate those scripts for you, and you can use those to migrate. Absolutely. And having a database team that can manage that content for you, that's fine. I don't mind adding that. No, I have a different philosophy than Nick does. There's always choice. That comment works both ways. So I had removed. There was a YouTube customization panel in here that I had removed because quite frankly, it was difficult to connect and use and work with YouTube. So I can, just like I did for Twitch chat, adding this here, I could do the same thing for YouTube down at the bottom here and get that in. I haven't worked too much with that feature. I'd have to look further at it, Robert. My apologies. I don't have a immediate, snappy insight into that. No, it doesn't mean his approach is more or less valid. I have a difference in philosophy. That's all. Where am I going here? So I need to reintroduce the YouTube provider down here, and we need to get it to load and interact with the YouTube API for this application. Okay. What types of security measures can you add to your website from scratch? All kinds of things. We've been talking about antivirus. There's one thing. YouTube does not have a cost. You're going to have to do scans and make sure that you appropriately handle attempts for SQL injection, for cross-site scripting. You're going to need to wire up to a payment provider and pass their security challenges in order to use their service, and as well as the storage of the results that come back from that payment provider. There are things that you are not allowed to store that come back from them. So working with Stripe, working with PayPal, these are pretty turnkey solutions that you can hand things off to, and they'll manage all of that for you. But as soon as you start accepting money and processing charges on your system, you need to be aware of the various attacks that folks can take on that. There's tests that you need to think about and you need to process that you probably haven't thought about before. When you start building that shopping cart, what happens if somebody orders negative 100 widgets? What happens if somebody orders negative 100 widgets? You send that to your payment processor to charge their credit card. Negative 100 times the $10 per widget. You're going to charge somebody negative 1,000? Oh, wait a sec. You're giving them $1,000? Those types of tests you now need to think about as well. That's not just a security measure. That's a logic test that you need to consider and look at. Things like that you need to think about. So, YouTube has no cost. It is free to interact with. So let's head back over here to our providers. There is a provider configuration screen and a bit of configuration that's hanging out there for it. Admin, there they are. So we can add a new one here for YouTube. And then we need to migrate in the old YouTube features, which I think I deleted. Yeah, I did. So we can start working on that. You did that negative number trick on a streamer once, woke him up good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I love that parable, that story. A tester walks into a bar, asks for a beer, asks for 2 beers, asks for 15 billion beers, asks for negative 15 beers. There's another one on that where it doesn't even ask for a number of beers, right? After negative 15, it asks for apple beers or something like that. Customer walks into a bar, asks where the toilet is, and the bar explodes. Meh. Meh. Never do billing or auth yourself. That's why I hand off as much of it as possible. Not just here in TagsApp, also in Aspirify. Auth is handed off to someone else. You learned about attacks on payment processing systems, the attack innovation that comes with the possibility of tricking someone into giving you money. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There are all kinds of tricks that folks attempt. Yes, it is ridiculous. Where was I? Down here. I don't even remember if the Twitter one works properly. But let's just, I'm going to stop. So we're going to add a Razor component for, oh, come on. YouTube chat config UI dot resor. There it is. And yeah, this is the wrapper that knows how to call into. Man, it's been forever since I've done this. So something like this. Let's start with there. Sure, and the form and the config. So we need health, we need to be able to save configuration. Sure. Probably want the toast service. Yeah, let's bring all these in. Sure. So, yeah, health. I don't know what these are yet, but we'll figure them out. We want something that's going to be similar, but it'll be referencing YouTube. The view model that was in here is chatbot name, OAuth token, channel name enabled. Yeah, there's something like that for this also. I don't know what it is off the top of my head just yet, but we'll just allocate some space there and start working for it. So, this is my Penn State dad hat. You have a website with about 1,500 daily users. You also have 250 attempts at WordPress hacking a day. Yes, it's ridiculous. Like, the number of break-in attempts on my blog and on Aspirify.net and on C# in the cards is ridiculous. Someone found a flaw in ordering burgers from McDonald's kiosks. They found that by customizing the burger. They ended up getting the burger for free. They ordered 10 cheeseburgers for free. Haven't seen that, but I could totally see that happening. Yeah. We're gonna want a save config thing here. And yeah, we're gonna I don't know what all these things are yet here, but we'll figure that out and get them added in. I don't know. These things we can comment for now. We can, yeah, comment for now. Provider status. Hey there, Aloo the Crow with a resub.
Aloo the Crow just resubscribed.
Thank
For
you so
17
much.
months. 17 months and I've got a bone to pick with you, Fritz.
Uh-oh.
Why didn't you tell me how awesome Aspire plus Bicep files are? BHD Shake C# Coffee Aloof point. But thank you for the awesome content and educational opportunity overall. I've
pointed in that direction, and I've tried to automate deployment as much as possible, but Bicep is an interesting YAML, not YAML, Bicep is an interesting domain-specific language that helps you deploy to Azure. It's available to deploy to other services as well. Folks only really use it to deploy to Azure. So... Really, you once changed your job title by making a field editable using browser dev tools and hitting submit. The security officer for .NET did that as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that, Thindall. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. So, how's it going, Code with Sean? Hello. All right, let me dive in here. Oh, that was tier 2. Allure the Crow with tier 2. Thank you. Very cool. All right, so I think I've got the bare minimum bits in here for this. In the actual admin up here, there is providers, right? There's a generic provider here that knows how to go and place the providers appropriately. We were doing this with a bit of reflection, and it was dicey. Like, it got a little hairy to do. Why, when it's 3 lines of code and it's one case statement in this file that says, here's where to go to find that thing. Like, go do that. Is the YouTube... No. You know what? YouTube chat. The YouTube chat provider might not be referenced here. This one? Yep, there's YouTube chat. Right there. So it should have... Need a using statement for that? Alright, fine. Then this becomes YouTube chat config UI. There we go. When it loads the providers, we need to make sure it's loading YouTube chat also. In here. There it is. So it sure looks like it's trying to. Okay. So it looks like it's trying to. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. So that'll pass through and start presenting this. Let's see how close we're getting. And then we need to go back and look at the configuration keys that YouTube chat needs, get them loaded in this user interface, or provide ways to click through and get that authentication loaded up here. Their budget ran out early. Oh, that's a shame. So difficult. But comes back to a little bit of our earlier discussion. Hey, when you change technology stacks, that's an expensive consideration. So we'll jump back into the website. System admin, providers, come on. I think, ooh, okay. It's not in the list here. Why are you not in the list? So let's keep walking up the stack here. This generic provider is being called in the providers. For each in the social media providers collection. So it should be loading up. So let's keep walking back this. New start YouTube chat. Should be registering the services. It's adding it as a transient. Oh, well, it's probably right there. It's looking for the YouTube chat configuration app settings and looking for a client ID. This is where we need an ID to identify. We need an ID to identify Tags app to YouTube so it knows how to connect. If I comment this out for right now and we restart, it might appear. Because it'll actually flow through, even though there isn't a configuration for this. Should still load something. And we'll need to move that YouTube chat configuration because we want to put that in the database. There we go. Okay. And there's a second browser that opens because I have some other configuration in there about how it starts and restarts. It says Twitch chat there a second time. It's not Twitch chat, that's YouTube chat. But this one, why does it think it's... Because I put provider name... Because I put the wrong provider name, that's why. And this should be... YouTube? Think. Pretty sure. Save that. Because this is... What's it called? Did it not attempt to patch? Don't make me restart you. You're gonna make me restart it. Fine. I feel like that provider name should come in from the provider. Like, why am I putting it in twice? So maybe there's a simplification I can do there. But I would have to go through these steps to add another provider all the time. Right, when we go to do Discord, Instagram, so on. Over here, providers. There it is, YouTube chat. So, and we'll start loading this up. Status unknown, right, because it isn't configured yet. Oh, I'm out of coffee. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Let's start adding some of these things. Tags app, Blazor, client. Started adding YouTube chat provider config UI. There it goes. For Twitch, I don't have the client ID and client secret here. Who did that? No. My local comic shop sending me Discord messages. Right, this is kind of Yeah, it's this is offloaded to the Twitch surface, so it's actually living somewhere else. Okay. But the client ID and client secret, I think I should have you key in for YouTube, for your YouTube app. Have it attempt to log in as you. Not log in as you, but have it attempt to connect. And then prompt for a channel to watch. Even then, when you prompt for a channel to watch, it wants an event. Like, you have to specify an event for YouTube chat, a video, a live event, a live stream event for it to connect to. So, I mean, I could do something in the provider that says, hey, go find the current events for the channel that we're watching. And if there is a current live event, go attach to that one. And give you an option to override it here. I could do something like that. I did read their documentation about this. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, and we'll bring up their documentation and take a look at it. The code that I have here for the YouTube chat provider, right? It's all sitting right here. So the way I had it before, you would log in with your Google account. And right, we would fetch the keys to log in as a Google account. And reach into, right, save the client ID, client secret. And where is it? There is, right, so you're basically logging in with TagsApp here. And then you're coming back around on the other side and using that client ID, client secret to get information about the channel and the broadcast. And then that's the big one, the live chat ID. The ID that goes with this broadcast on YouTube, so we can grab those values. So the provider, see, there it is. I think we want to make this a little bit smarter so that we look at the number of points you have left and set this to be anywhere from 1 second to once a minute, depending on how many requests, how many points you have, and refresh appropriately. So, exception management. Say it reaches into, yeah, YouTube chat configuration, and inside there it is. The refresh token, live chat ID, and which channel you're watching. Yeah. So get content for a specific hashtag. That's a whole thing. Get the Google service. Right, we wrote a thing in here that get channels for the current user. And then, so we, right, I have 2 or 3 channels under my user. And then we get the list of broadcasts and let you choose a broadcast. The broadcasts themselves, if we look at the API, I thought there was a there. The list. So there's the live broadcast. Content details, monetization details, statistics, status. What's the status? Hang on. Made for kids, privacy status, recording status. No. No. Somewhere in here there's like a date on it. Bound stream, last update, time. Not sure if that's it. Somewhere in here there's a start date that we can pick off. And I thought we were. To present and allow folks to see. Yeah, the broadcast time, there it is. So they call it on the snippet, the actual start time. So that we can put together a list of here's broadcasts that you might want to choose to attach to. Maybe we just make that a little bit smarter and say, you know what, if there is a current broadcast, go attach to that unless you choose otherwise, and you override. So, and then a dispose pattern. But I create a little record here so I can insulate from the complexity of the YouTube API for my business objects and interacting here where I'm deciding how to work with the YouTube content. So it works a little bit. I mean, we're going to improve it. So how do we want to dive into this? And I got to be careful what I show on screen. So Google has an app console. Or they call it, is it web developer? It's not web developers console. Is it just developers console? Google Cloud Platform. Console developers Google.com. There it is. Be careful, Fritz. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid. There's Tags app. Hey there, Leviani!
Leviani just resubscribed for 69 months. Here we go again. Stay calm and keep on coding. Smiley face.
Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to a tech charity. 69 months. My goodness. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I want to make sure that stuff is actually hidden on here. Yeah? Okay. So I have two APIs set up for... Oh, that's the OAuth to get you logged in. Yeah, look at all that. And then hand off to the... Okay. So I have a Google login that's wired up to Tags app. Fine. Did I say hi, Warm Peas? How you doing there, Warm Peas? Good to see you. Have a good one, Robert. Yeah, great tech talking, hanging out here. No, that's not where I wanted to go. How do we want to do this? do I need your login? Well, I guess I need your login, your YouTube login, if I'm going to look at your broadcasts. Right? Because no, I think that's the API access. Do I need... I'm not sure. I might be able to get around this. Can I connect to any YouTube? Let's pop open, go back to the documentation. YouTube developer live chat API. That's what they call it. Live chat messages right there. Resource can contain details about several types of messages, blah, blah, blah. And here's what it looks like. And all of that JSON is going to get converted to... have a good one, C# Titan. Oh my goodness, 1:30 in the morning there. All that's going to get converted to a C# object. And there's descriptions of it. Yeah, but how do I get these? Right, aren't they hanging off of a live broadcast? Yeah, live chat ID right there. So, how do I get a collection of live broadcasts? Right. Heading back over here. Get broadcasts for user. Live broadcast resource. List request. Looking for an event. Oh, no, that's the type. Okay, hang on. What other types do we have in there? Persistent all event. Okay. So, YouTube service live broadcasts list. But that service is coming out of this get Google service. So that'll be the tags app configuration there. Trying to remember how this works. Refresh flow, get refresh token. Google authorization code flow. Okay. Right, so that's authorizing tags app. And then it's saying refresh for whatever that YouTube email ID is. Where's that coming from? It's being passed in. It's the email for the channel that we're looking at. This is where it makes sense to have somebody log in. So, but I mean, I could have that hard-coded to whatever. Do we need to refresh the token? user credential. And then we get a new YouTube service, and that's what we're returning. It's a little bit convoluted. See if there's a list my broadcasts. Oh, and it's this sample run over here. No. No. I'm not encoding. YouTube API C#. Let's start there. Okay. Okay. Give me... That tells me nothing. .NET reference documentation. I want to know last time this was updated. 2 months ago. 1.6.8. Let's double check what version we have installed. 1.680 3421. Yep, we have the same version. Okay. Got lucky there. Sure, show me some samples. Playlist, search, upload. What do we got here? Show me that README. Retrieve my uploads. Search by keyword. Let's take a look at this one. It's not quite where we're looking, but... So, static void main, argument, blah, 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 blah. New search run wait. Thanks. Love that you're waiting there instead of awaiting. New YouTube service base client service. There's your API key and your application name. Doing the search. I'm not sure why it... Whatever. So if it just created a YouTube service with an API key there, like, do we have to do all this credential stuff up here? Like, take a look. Right? Is there a way to shortcut this? Right? Something like that. Is it that easy? No way. No way. Because for me to get the live chat, service live broadcast list. All right, it's right there. And we do a catch on that. Can I? No way. No way. Right? Service live broadcast list. Forgot the var in the front. Looks like it might work. Looks like it might work, right? Like, is that just going to get all live broadcasts? Associated with the given channel. We didn't specify a channel. Yeah, we don't have a channel here. So if we go to do like a file upload, yeah, it goes and authorizes. This is doing a login here. Right, it's getting credentials and passing the credential there. Then doing your client ID, your client secret, and then the redirect. So if I pass client ID, client secret, it's still not giving me a channel. Right, where is it getting the user? Right? It defined user credential up here. Oh no, that's where it's picking up the user credential. We're close. What? sorry. I'm not sure. So this is where having the Google login helps with this. Right, but this is going to get... Where is that coming from? And the refresh token. Right? Those two are coming from somewhere. It's coming out of the YouTube config. This is based on... This is based on somebody logged in. Once you're logged in, we have your refresh token and your access token. There was a whole thing that we built in the old system that would capture and pass that along. You know how I get worried here about working with security information live on stream. Like, this is asking for problems for me to be tinkering. And then? Yeah. If I went off of this, I'd have to go back and find the old code. I don't think it was the best to do this. Let's look back at their sample. Google Web Authorization Broker. Is this opening the browser and having folks log in and that's the credential that comes back? Is after somebody logs in? I wouldn't be opposed to doing that. Just like we do the Twitch login. I wouldn't be opposed to doing that in this dialogue. Right? Take this bit of code that's collecting that credential and do it in the user interface. But then if we're going to continue using that credential to fetch data, like, I need to save off of that. At the very least, the refresh token. Google specific authorization code, and it initializes so that it comes back to the OIDC endpoint. Trying to think through how we're going to do this. We have a user ID, a refresh token, and a cancellation token. Once we have that token, then we have a user credential. What's in the token response? Access token, token type, expire in seconds. There's the refresh token. So passing that token into here, not terrible. Right, and so I'm working this backwards and trying to think through how this is being built and initialized, because I need to know which channel to look at. I need to have access to that channel, so I need to have a user. I can't put the client secret into a Blazor user interface, into Blazor client, because that's visible. You can get at that. So that's a problem. We can't allow access to that. So I can force you to log in. I can force you to log in at an API endpoint at a web page that runs on the server that does have the secrets, and have you do the Google auth thing. And once you've done Google auth, right, user manager has that refresh token. Let's go back to the source code for Tags app. Right, we can go back in these commits. There, this one. Right, all these file was deleted stuff. Yeah, it's going to be the commit before this. So we can browse at this, and we'll be able to see those old files there. There it is. Oh boy. And we purposely put YouTube in its own configuration, because there was some stuff to configure in there. So we're basically going to move this same type thing back into the Blazor WebAssembly provider. So this page model took in the messaging service, the configuration service, the user manager. There it is. Stashes a copy to the user manager. There's the YouTube chat configuration, the channel title, the current chat ID that we're watching. Identify refresh token and email. There we go. So it reaches into YouTube chat configuration and goes and gets it here. User manager get user, user manager get authentication token async for Google. There it is. And get your Google email for the current user so that we can use the current logged in user and look at the channels you have access to and work with them. Hey, Flykin. Websites that allow content to be added to them, right? We're past that side of the discussion. That was a little bit earlier. But websites that allow content to be added, whether it's a giant text area or a file upload, primarily a file upload is where you're going to see this issue. If you let folks upload files to your application, they can upload images, spreadsheets, documents, PDFs that have malware embedded. We don't want to trust. Yeah, they might upload a bash script. They might upload a PowerShell script, too. Good point, One Punch Mac. We don't want to trust content that folks upload and that we're going to try and present back on screen as a PDF or an image. We want to inspect them first and make sure that they're clean, that they're free of any unwanted payload before we go and reshare that content from our website. And the way to do that is do some sort of antivirus scan. The blog post that we shared earlier, and I'll drop it in chat there again. Come on. There it is. Shows how I put together a little component using the open source ClamAV antivirus and orchestrated it with .NET Aspire so that when files are uploaded to the website, we route it through the isolated antivirus service that we stand up and manage. Kind of a cool technique. So, yeah, when you think about content that's being sent to your website, people just navigating around, no big deal, who cares? But when folks start sending content to your website, particularly files, can also happen with text uploads, but particularly files, we want to inspect and address that. You haven't worked with the .NET 8 Blazor render stuff? Oh, yeah. There's some really cool stuff in there. Would it be possible to have a Blazor server only component on your WASM page be rendered when the user opens the expansion panel? No. You're mixing and matching features there. WebAssembly is the end of the line. So you can't have WebAssembly host a server-side component. You can have server-side components host WebAssembly components. So if there's something that needs to run on the server that you want to host in there, you could do something with an iframe to wrap it, but it's not going to... You're not going to be able to propagate and push stuff over to the server from WebAssembly. You're going to have to consider wrap your component as with whatever server features and include in various places the WebAssembly capabilities that you need. Eric asks, is there a way with OAuth for them to call back as a post to your server? Yes. Yep. That's how the authentication that's built into ASP.NET works. Yep. Absolutely, that's how that works. So I think the answer here is we need to enable Google login authentication. Once that's available, then we can inspect and take a look at the current user and say, okay, you have logged in with Google. would you like to enable YouTube chat and take those steps? Hey, Fries Diskin, you saw the blog post? Thank you. I want to create a YouTube video to go with it. I'll probably record that later today. How's my schedule here? I think I'm wide open for a bit. No. No, I'm on one of those stupid questions that pops up here. Yeah, I've got some time. We're okay. Does Blazor have any UI libraries? Oh, it has lots. Lots and lots. Oh, yes. Yes, yes. Take a look at Mud Blazor is the open source one that a lot of folks like to go to. There's a number of Bootstrap wrapper libraries. And, of course, the component vendors. If you want enterprise support for a component library, all of the component vendors have great Blazor libraries available. Whether it's Progress, DevExpress, SyncFusion, Infragistics, they have one. Radzen has a free one, and you can buy support to go with that. Yep, there's the Fluent UI one from Microsoft that you can download and use for free as well. Yep, so there's a lot of Blazor UI libraries out there that are available. So I wholeheartedly recommend folks check them out. I'm not using any for this because I don't think any of the things that I'm doing on the front end are really need a library. No, there's a number of them that are free. I wouldn't say most are free. There's a lot of free ones available, but I wouldn't say most. And I'd say that the high quality ones are for pay. DevExpress, Telerik, SyncFusion. Partially free? Not sure. I'd have to dig in and research. I don't particularly research that too much. But does Infragistics... I haven't heard much from Infragistics in a while. They've really disappeared off the .NET radar for me. Yeah, it looks like they're pivoting a bit. Into other products. I don't see components when I go to their Infragistics. There's Blazor. Okay. Yep. Ignite UI for Blazor. So, yep, they're still creating it. Brian's working on other products. So, yes, Radzen is partially free. SyncFusion does have a community edition that folks can get to. Yep. So it looks here like I need to set up Google Authentication in order to reactivate the capabilities that I previously had. Hey, Grego Waffles. We're doing good. Think, Fritz. So if I want to migrate this in, the Mudblazor docs have been updated to version 7. Nice. So the YouTube chat configuration has a broadcast title, a live chat, and the refresh token that goes with it. I think we need... and the broadcast ID. There it is. Channel email, the channel title. Okay. So we need to rework this a little bit. And I'm wary about passing that refresh token to the browser. Because the user interface here, well, that OAuth token is coming in, it's being posted back. I'm okay with that one. If I'm working with the user, I'm not in the browser. Okay. Let me double check my schedule here for Thursday stream. I think we need to open up and start getting more streams going each week here. We might be able to do that a little bit more over the summer. Oh yeah, we're good on Thursday. Let's see what we can do for some fun on Thursday. I don't think, looking at the YouTube chat configuration, I don't think we want to pass the refresh token. I thought I shut you off over there. I don't think we want to pass the refresh token back to the browser, but I think the rest of these things that we're getting from Google, we can totally do in the browser. No, wait a sec. No, we're going to need an API to do these things. Because it should run on the server. Because we're passing Google credentials around. Okay. Okay. We can do that workflow on the server. Enyo Phase with a question here. Any web image optimization libraries other than ImageSharp that allow on-the-fly resizing, type conversion and quality adjustments? ImageSharp I love. It's a great library. The team that works on it, really good developers. And for a nonprofit, for a hobby project, for a small project, for a small company, great way to get started. And they set a limit in their license that once you're a business that makes more than $1 million, they ask for $1,200 a year. Like, they're not asking for a lot for their product. So, just like ASP boilerplate, can I suggest some alternatives? Some alternatives to boilerplate? No, I don't know of any alternative boilerplate templates out there. But web image optimization, Cloudflare has stuff? Really? Cloudflare, sure, image resizing. So you have to upload the image to their network, and they'll resize it. Transform images. Yeah, you have to upload it to their service, and they'll do it. There's got to be a... Yeah, what's the pricing on this? Um... 1,000 product images that are resized 5 different ways. That's 5,000 unique transformations. There you go. 50 cents per 1,000 unique transformations. So you're still paying for it. Right? So, not free, but certainly low cost. Yeah, you just use it as a proxy in front of it. Yeah. So, and depending on how many folks then request, will determine how many times you need to use that. And if you're doing something internally, right, not going to be easy to use this. But I think the image sharp folks have done a nice job, and you know what? They're developers just like us. They want to get paid too. So, create and deploy unlimited closed source projects, redistribute, royalty free with your application. So, for a small organization with up to 10 developers, $80 a month. $800 a year, up to 10 developers working. If you're an enterprise, they're looking for $5,000 a year. It's really good. So I use this for Aspirify. It's just me. There is no. It is not a for-profit website. It is closed source, but it is not for profit, and I don't make any money on it. So I don't have to purchase a license. Is the way that I read that. So I'm okay. I'm okay with this for Aspirify. I start using this for something else and we start making some serious cash there. Well, if it's just me paying $800 a year to get their support, cool. I'm game with that. I'm game with that. If I'm making $1 million a year, heck yes. I will absolutely pay you for that. So, and save 25% versus paying $80 a month. So, anyways, but if you're learning, if you're building a little hobby project, you've got something running on your home server over here that's resizing family photos and creating an album for you. Cool. You can use Image Sharp. It's you're building something for private use. You're not selling it. You're not taking it anywhere. They're not going to get on your case. But you're using it for a company, for profit, and you're reselling the outcome of it. Come on. Every developer needs to get paid. Every developer needs to get paid. We want to get paid as developers. They should get paid for building and delivering something that you find useful too. So, unless you're Stallman. We don't need to stir up the hornet's nest by talking about him. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop stream a little bit early here so I can record a YouTube video about the antivirus component that we wrote. This thing. We talked a little bit about earlier today. I'm going to record a video about this, maybe 3 to 5 minutes long, and get that published over to YouTube so that more folks can find and learn about this. And some of this security stuff bouncing back and forth on YouTube, I'm going to work on that a little bit offline so that we can, I don't inadvertently dox myself. Once I have the login working, I'll be able to bring that back in and share online. But I'm concerned, I'm a little skittish about inadvertently doxing myself, and doxing my Google account is something that I do not want to do. So I think I'm just going to wrap up there for right now. Let me see who else is streaming on the big Twitch TV network. I really don't like the new view over here on YouTube. It's really hard to see. Yeah, nobody's watching on YouTube right now. Quite literally 0 people are watching on YouTube. So let me see who we can get you connected with. that's doing something fun, doing something interesting. Taking a look just around the horn here. You know what? He just got started. He's doing some authentication with Astro. Let me get you rated over to Jason Langsdorff. I'm actually going to see him next week. I don't think he knows that. So let's get you. Yes, I will be on Thursday. I'm going to try and do the Hot Ones Spicy Wing Challenge. Let me set up. Let's do a raid to our friend Jason Langsdorff. There we go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back on Thursday. We're going to try and do this Spicy Chicken Wings Tech Talk Challenge on Thursday. We've got guests joining us later this month. I'm scheduling them. It's going to be a blast. I hope to see you Thursday. But until then, say hi to our friend Jason. And I'll catch you later, all right? I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.